When it comes to enrolling your kids in a particular school of your choice, well, education does matter, but security also does rank high among parents. Let's find out from experts what schools can do to provide maximum security to their kids. Ma'am, what do you think schools can do to ensure the kids are safe?
In today's world, protecting a child is more important than educating a child. So for us, security is of prime importance for any school. And there are two different kinds of securities. One is internal security, what is happening inside the premise of the school, and one is external security, where the security at the gate, the bus which the children use coming to school, all these things are monitored. So as a school, we have to ensure that we have proper security system at the gate where children enter the school and they are left, and they come through a security agency, so a background check is done. Also we ensure that the bus conductor, the bus driver, the maids, there should be a maid who should be accompanying the bus and the children when they go back, which is mandatory for most of the schools, and proper verification has been done. As far as internal security is concerned, there can be many kinds of problems which a child can face inside the school also, which is in form of verbal abuse, or maybe harassment or physical abuse, or just a struggle between two kids. So to ensure that doesn't happen, we need to have proper guidelines set in the school. We need to have proper teacher training done.
What's your take on this?
I think Shona has commented on it comprehensively. There's one particular aspect, as in when you are taking on employees, there should be definitely a background check done. That is really very important, and checking what prospective employees' antecedents are, how does he behave with children. There should be a certain amount of time when he is placed under careful observation till he understands the ethos of the school and internalizes the whole thing, so that the children can be nurtured and kept safe from harm. Yes, verbal abuse, as Shona said, it can take place not only, when we think about abusive behavior, we think of adults harming the children, but even children can be very nasty when it comes to interacting with others as well. And verbal abuse can really harm the child's self-esteem, and that needs to be guarded against, yes.
Today, are children smarter because of the internet? There are lots of pros and cons, but are children being able to use the pros and take away the drawbacks of the internet? To discuss that, we're joined by educationist Neela Desai. Ma'am, there are good points and there are bad points about using the internet. But today, are children being able to focus on the good points, and are they becoming smarter because of the internet?
Each coin has got two sides. So we have to look towards first the positive aspect of this internet accessibility. And children really, they feel that when they have any they want clarity, or if they have doubts in their further part of education, to score out, to compete, to have some researches, internet is the best resource where they are not left with the doubt but with the clarification.
Yeah, they go to it immediately.
Yeah, they perform better. They need not wait for another day to go to the class, get cleared with the teacher. Teachers may not help them at the right moment. So it saves their time, it saves their energy, as well as they get some satisfaction. They become more confident on their own path, what they have learned.
Even though they're using the internet, do you believe that the students are using the internet for the right reasons, which is helping them maybe academically, or they're becoming smarter, more intelligent, able to grasp concepts more fast? Do you believe that they're using the internet for the right reasons these days?
See, I have got a very, the fact that children have different perceptions. So it all depends upon the family background, and that individual biological urge what they look upon.
Yes.
If they are guided morally,
Yes.
if that family care, teachers care, school part of it, where they get the guidance of the right use of the facilities, the technology that is so accessible to them, what is the right use should be like the integral part of the curriculum where they go to the right search.
Ma'am raising some very important points. It's sort of an integrated thing between the parents, the teachers and the students to ensure that the students are using the internet for the right reasons. As for me, I believe compared to traditional learning methods, the internet is definitely the most fun way to learn, and let's hope that our students and teenagers are using the internet for the right reasons and are becoming smarter because of it.
We're joined by Mrs. Sangeeta Rautji. She is an education expert. She's been working in the education field for a long time. We're going to talk to her about, do our schools prepare our students for future?
Yes, if you take it broadly, I'd rather say yes, they do to a certain extent. But then exactly what is the extent is the question that we need to ask ourselves. Because when you talk about future of a child, we are talking about future success. So success, if you take it, it would be monetary, it would be otherwise. So these two things, yes, the education system does prepare us to a large extent. But then if we take it the broader perspective, yes, there are certain changes that definitely need to be incorporated.
One of the biggest criticism of our education system is the fact that students just mug up the answers. They mug up the classroom notes, regurgitate that, go to the exam, write it down. From standard 7 to standard 8, when they go into the next standard, they forget what they have learned. So do you think that needs to be changed?
Definitely, because you see, during the schooling days, the children are actually picking up certain skill sets. So that needs to be in place, definitely. But incorporation of fresh ideas is definitely very, very important for us. Like you see, some boards, the national boards have incorporated things like HOTS, the high order thinking skills. Then clubs like the Integrity Club have been incorporated by the boards. So what happens is that in this way the child becomes a more positive member of the society. So that's one way of incorporating a child's future. Apart from that, you know, if we could put in some more emphasis on learning on the job. Because you see, in the current scenario, a PG degree, a post-graduation means actually enhancing of knowledge, not skills. So if we could put that into picture, apprenticeship models where a person could learn on the job, these two things definitely need to come into the picture.
When it comes to a sensitive topic like sex education in schools, age appropriateness is a very important factor. Today we have experts joining us who are telling us just this and what's the age when schools should start imparting sex education. So ma'am, what do you think is the right age for schools to start giving out sex educations to their kids?
Sex education should be age appropriate. When child is asking question, that time the sex education start. The first question invariably children they ask is from where I have come. 2 to 5 preschool age where they learn from body parts. That is also a way of giving the sex education. There we give parts of the body, we talk about all the parts but we don't talk about the sex related body parts. So that time if we are talking about all the parts of the body, that is another way of giving sex education to the school. They should be knowing from the beginning till end what is good touch, what is bad touch, where to touch, where not to touch, where you can allow others to touch and where you should not be allowing anybody to touch.
So let's say if we talk in terms of schools, now abroad we've seen schools giving out sex education from the age of when the kid is 7 years old, but in India it's much later. So what do you have to say about that? Do you think in India too we should start following the same trend?
See, what happens is that sex and sex education and discussion about such thing is somehow in Indian society is not very openly done. It is only relatively in last decade or so that we have started even discussing these kinds of things. So we have to know that in Western society, this is something which is very freely discussed, not only in school but even at home, and therefore probably children become more aware of their sexuality and body parts and all other things much earlier, and therefore schools also start giving this education at a very early age, say 7 or 8. I think that looking at the globalization and the kind of society, the way we are growing, it is time for us also to consider that we have to give a formal sex education to children in school in addition to at home, whatever parents may do at an early age.
What about parents, like families? How can you help your kid, apart from the school actually giving them sex education, how can you also discuss the matter? Is it very important?
Yes, it's very important that parents should be inculcating this information to the child, because parents, if talking to the child, they will be talking in an informal atmosphere, and but most important thing, they should be confident to deal with this subject. So they should be prepared before they are talking to the child.
Can you tell us an appropriate icebreaker for this? How do you go about breaking the ice and actually initiating that dialogue?
See, it is not easy, because the kind of culture from which we come, and open discussion is really not something which happens in all families. So one is that right from the beginning, if parents have really had open dialogue about various things which are intimate, then that might really help.